Hello, friends. I'm here. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. Exiled Faye, hello. Pie, hello. Pringles, and like the classic combination. AB Coffee, hello. How's it going? How is everyone? I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. Oh my goodness. I have 3 days before I gotta get on a plane. Peter, hello. How's it going? 3 days before I gotta get on a plane. Tons of work to do in that time. They do look lewd. Yes, that is kind of the joke of the Pringles emote. Sleepy but alright, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. As you guys can see, I brought it up on the screen so I wouldn't forget to mention, I've got a new book out today. This is Song of the Spheres, book 2 in the Celestial Serenade collection. This is the second box set, essentially, the second coffee table book of the Celestial Serenade series. This is books 4, 5, and 6 all together in one place as they were originally intended to be released. Thank you, Peter. Angel Faye, hello. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. I'm on a work break, end of year company shutdown. Nice! AB Coffee. I hope that lasts for a couple weeks. I'm going to be taking about 2.5 weeks off total. We are going to be away for a week and a half visiting Ghost's family in Ontario. And then when we get back, I'm planning to also just take some downtime for myself, chill, do my Hades puzzle that I bought a little while back, and just chill. I don't know when streaming will resume. I'm not necessarily planning to stream that first week in January, but the second week in January is when I'm going to be getting back to work. I'm going to be getting back into the regular routine and hopefully getting set up with streaming again. But today, if you're interested, you can head over to Amazon. And if you were waiting on that complete box set of the next 3 books in the Celestial Serenade, those are over there. You can grab them on Amazon in ebook or paperback format, or you can read on Kindle Unlimited if you're subscribed. Again, this is books 4, 5, and 6 that were released earlier this year as separate individual installments in the series. But if you prefer to have just the one book on your shelf, or if you want the big coffee table book or whatever, if box sets are more your jam, this is there. This is my final release for 2022, my final gift to all you fine folks. So check that out. The cover is, of course, amazing, because Molly did it. And I basically was like, I don't know, a planet and a dragon is all I've got. And she put this together and it's gorgeous. So, Team Gaia, heck yeah. Are you going to see Victoria? I believe that Ghost is going to shoot her a message and see if she and Dylan are able to get together. They're actually close to a place that we go to on the way. So hopefully we'll be able to have dinner with them again, or just a quick hangout or something. It would be super nice. A planet and a dragon. That sounds like your heart. I mean, I basically, when I told her, you can see the other cover here, I basically said, like, dragon constellation, and she came up with that, which was brilliant. And then I was like, a dragon and a planet, because what I want for the next book is basically a sun with the shadow of the dragon on the sun. I've already sort of told her that for Soul of the Sun. As you guys probably already know, because I've mentioned it a few times, next year I'm going to be releasing books 7, 8, and 9 of the Celestial Serenade. All that I have written was supposed to be the end. My characters may have decided that there's a little bit more story to visit in the future. But as of now, the conclusion, books 7, 8, and 9, up to the end of the series, there's a time jump between Song of the Spheres and Soul of the Sun. So there's an ending. There's an ending at the end of this book. So if you haven't gotten to the end of book 6 yet, something to look forward to. There's an ending. And then there's another ending in Soul of the Sun, but there's a time jump between them. I won't say how long of a time jump, but there's a time jump between. I'm super looking forward to that because we've kind of talked before about how as you go as a writer, you sort of gain more skill and you sort of hit a new level where you can sort of see how you could do things better. I feel like between Dreamers Do Lie and Symphony of the Stars, there was a big skill gap for me. Like I increased being a better writer significantly between those two series. I feel like I also increased significantly in skill between Song of the Spheres and Soul of the Sun. So I feel like the next 3 books in the Celestial Serenade are just that much more top-notch than the ones that come before it. I definitely wrote them quite a bit later. Like I wrote the first 6 books, and then there were some projects and stuff. There was some time in between, and then I wrote the Soul of the Sun. So hopefully it's something special, worth looking forward to. And yeah, so that is over on Amazon. You can check that out. This is over on Amazon. You can check it out. And hopefully it'll get you guys excited for what's coming next year. But today, we're gonna work on this little one here. I say little one, it's being a huge pain in my butt though. We're gonna work some more on Everyone's Child. I'm gonna see if I can get my white noise working today. I originally intended to stream a lot more of the process of this book, but the editing has just been really hardcore. Like, I set a very ambitious schedule for this. And if I work on it off stream, I can sort of cram it into the time allotted, but in order to have interactions with you guys and to make stream feel fun and, you know, worthwhile, it just takes more time to get through the scenes. And so I've had to sort of rearrange the schedule, do more of it off stream. This is probably going to be my last editing stream for the first book, just because we have so much to do before we leave on a plane on Thursday morning. And I would rather make sure that the work gets done. And also I would rather make sure that if I'm streaming, it's fun for you guys. And that sort of thing. So this is going to be our last stream editing this particular project. I am going to be changing the schedule for book 2 to make it a little bit easier on myself. I've already sort of gone over that over the calendar for next year. So hopefully that'll alleviate some of the strain so that I can keep working on this project on stream when we get to book 2. I don't think it's a huge deal because the editing process isn't that exciting, and I'm going to talk about what I've been doing off stream so that you guys know. You'll have a little update in between here of what's been going on. And I'm going to finish this in the first week of next year. I started watching the Beauty and the Beast 30th anniversary show. I've not even heard of it. It's weird. I hate the vast majority of everything about it. Is this a Disney show? Writer's Top Secret, there's never an ending. That's the thing, is that you could just keep writing something forever, really. At a certain point, I think you have to say this is for sure the end. The reason why I'm sort of giving in to my characters, even if everyone's dead in atoms, it's still not an ending. You're not wrong. Basically, the only reason that I'm kind of allowing my characters to have another set of books, another trilogy, one last hurrah for the Celestial Serenade is that, So I mentioned there's a time jump, right? So there's 6 books, and then there's a time jump, and then there's 3 books. And so there's a lot of new characters that are introduced in Soul of the Sun that are only around for 3 books. And when I sat down and looked at the idea that popped into my head and how it affected all of the characters throughout the series, it kind of made sense to give those characters that were introduced in the 2nd series that extra time to sort of have their story be told. I do also have a spin-off idea for a story that takes place in the Celestial Serenade universe and uses the characters from the main series only as like cameos and sort of background characters. That is a series that will be called The Backwards Bar and Grill, which is a galactic heist story. So I'm hopefully going to be, after we finish Everyone's Child, actually, I'm hopefully going to be writing that. So definitely, I don't think I'll ever be fully done with the Celestial Serenade universe. But there comes a point in time when you have to say, okay, these characters have told their story now, and I don't necessarily want to be writing them until the cows come home. It's the same for the Aravalia Chronicles. I originally planned that to be a trilogy, and now it's 15 books. And I allowed it to grow that large because it's a generational story. The 2nd generation is sort of introduced midway through the series, and I wanted to give enough time for those characters to come into their own and to feel important and to feel like, you know, we were seeing their story instead of stopping the series as soon as their story started. But 15 books is a lot, so Aravalia Chronicles gets a hard cutoff at that point. And again, the characters may pop up as cameo characters and spin-offs. There is a, how do I... Sorry, I gotta blow my nose. Bots make me sniffly, apparently. I will say I'm already planning a Silkfoot spinoff as well, so there will be Aravalia Chronicles characters popping up in other stories, but it does have a hard cutoff. What do you consider to be your magnum opus? Oh my goodness, what a question. Hang on, let me finish blowing my nose, and then I will answer that question, because it's a bit of a complicated answer. I want you to be able to see my face when I answer this question. Ghost Pepper, hello! How's it going? What is up? Are you monster hunting still? How is monster hunting going? It's going in a direction. I'm assuming from that answer it's not going in the direction you want it to go in. What do I consider my magnum opus? All of my books take place in a multiverse. I didn't plan this. I've mentioned this on stream before. I did not plan it. It grew into existence of its own accord. Often I think I have stories that sit outside of the multiverse because I don't know how they connect to each other, and then they will manifest a connection. Eternity's Empire was not connected to the multiverse until the last book in the series, at which point it promptly sprang 3 connections to the multiverse in one go. So I don't like actively plan them. I'm not necessarily sitting down when I'm writing a book and saying, how does this book fit into the multiverse? But as I go through and as I write the books and as I start filling in blanks, inevitably something from the multiverse pops into it. And if you're wondering, yes, Everyone's Child has already sprung at least one connection to the multiverse. And if you've read Eternity's Empire, and if you've read any of what I've been writing on the screen since I started writing this, you may be able to already spot what that connection is. So basically, there's this giant multiverse. The Aravalia Chronicles is sort of the center hub of the wheel and that spokes outwards. I can tell you Celestial Serenade is the prologue. It's sort of the beginning of the story, the prelude. And then, like I said, the Aravalia Chronicles is sort of the hub at the center of the wheel. And I can tell you that Dreamers Do Lie is the end of the story, the end of the multiverse plotline, essentially. Vague answer, vague, because that makes sense only to me. There's not enough information yet connecting all of these stories for anyone to trace that line. But I can tell you, Celestial Serenade is the beginning, Dreamers Do Lie is the end, Aravalia is the catalyst. And I would consider that multiverse project to be my magnum opus. I don't know if I will survive long enough to write all of the stories that fully tell the story. I will say Dameron is kind of the main character of the multiverse, because he sort of is drawn into the center of it. And eventually, that's why he appears so often in all of my work and why there are so many variations of him out there. I would really, really like to finish the main storyline of the multiverse, because it does eventually develop a storyline. Like, it eventually all coalesces into an actual, like, here is the story of my stories. The story of my stories is what I consider to be my magnum opus, and if I am ever able to finish that, that would be my great work. The closest thing I have probably to a magnum opus in existence so far is probably the Aravalia Chronicles, just because it's very long and very involved, and because it's the center spoke of this multiverse. It has a lot of moving pieces that need to be in exactly the right spots that other people will not notice these things, but I do, because I know things about the greater universe that have to be defined early on, so that later when I expand them, people can go back and be like, holy shit, she was planning this the whole time, because I was. So that's my answer. I have begun my magnum opus. I have no idea if it will ever be finished. I endeavor to write each of my series so that they stand alone, so that if for some reason the multiverse never coalesces, everything can still be enjoyed. But someday in the future, if somebody reads absolutely everything I write, they might eventually be able to connect all the dots of the spider's web and be like, holy shit, it was all connected. And it is. I wish I had the brain to write an in-depth story. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. I did not originally plan for this to be a thing. I didn't sit down one day and say, how can I connect all of my stories together? I was literally laying in bed one day, not feeling well, just letting my mind drift, and Dameron sort of drifted into my mind, as he so often does, and whispered the keystone into my head, and I sat bolt upright, and I was like, they're all connected. I see the Matrix code. And that's only a minor exaggeration. I did sit bolt upright and I was like, holy shit. So I can't stress enough, like, this wasn't a conscious, it didn't start at least as a conscious plan. Now I keep track of it because I want it to make sense, but it wasn't something that I planned. And even like, The Island of Lost Forevers was written before many of these other characters were even conceived, and yet it fits into the multiverse as well. So take that as you will. I think brains are a wonderful place, and if you just let your brain run rampant, and they'll eventually do all this stuff mostly by itself. You just have to be able to keep up with writing it down. Relatable. I like how they made the first Iron Man not sure how it'd pan out, and when it turned out to be a success, they had to backtrack and change some of the lengths. Yeah, I basically am trying to make sure I don't have to do that. I have what I call, I've explained this on stream before too, but I have what I call side shadowing. Where there's little details thrown in that actually are for other series. But today, as I said, we are working on this series, Everyone's Child. We did edit, I think, the first 8 or so scenes on stream here. I think maybe this was where we stopped. As you can see, I have given the chapters names. That has continued to be a thing that I'm mostly satisfied with. Often I change some of these in the polishing stage, so they might not all stay the same. I'm just shy of the halfway point. I actually think this afternoon, off stream, I might hit the halfway point for editing, which is great. There have been some scenes, most of the scenes, I'm happy to say, have really just needed a spit polish, some names, some context details added. A couple of things have been difficult. There was a particularly difficult scene that I needed to spend a lot of time on, which was the beginning of the jailbreak, when Jalen and Aleith are escaping from the it was this one actually, the first part of chapter 6, when Jalen and Aleith are initially escaping from the mage prison. There was a lot of meandering at the beginning of this scene, a lot of sort of stray thoughts that didn't really fit together. I had to do a lot of poking and prodding at this one to sort of get it to do what I wanted it to do. So that one was really rough. And then there was another scene that I worked on Friday, which was the beginning of Ciri's sort of crisis of faith. Where I had basically, it was this chapter 9 where I had basically just written this really meandering, really in the weeds, like totally just stream of consciousness. None of it fit together. All of it was just all over the place, opening to a scene. And it took me, no word of a lie, like 45 minutes to rewrite a page and a half because it was butts. Diz's Living, hello, how are you? Every time you hit the halfway point, how often do you yell, whoa, living on a prayer? Not enough, Peter, not enough. I really should do it every time, and I don't. I should do it every time. So yeah, this was rough. This was a very rough edit. I actually, if any of you were watching, I think it was Andrew or Flannel that Ghost Pepper was hanging out with on like, or maybe it was Immersa on Friday that Ghost Pepper was hanging out with. And I walked downstairs and I was like, hey, can we switch cooking nights? Because I just had to do this really hard edit and my brain is fried. And he was like, yeah, it's cool. You were always live while I was at work. No, Diz is Living, I'm so sorry. I'm finally off. Hooray, you're here. Yeah, I did have to change the schedule a bit last week because, like I said, these edits just had not been fitting. And if I had tried to do this edit on stream, I think I would have just actually gone insane and pulled out my hair, and it would have been awful. So this was a really, really hard chapter to edit. I am happy with it now. But it was hard. I had to dig deep, and I have another edit like this coming up this afternoon where I have to rewrite a scene because the original scene kind of doesn't do anything. So that's kind of where I stand with this. I'm mostly happy with everything post-edit. There's one thing that I might swing back and look at, which is actually the scene that I edited, the last scene that I edited, which is when Elaith and Jaelin are making their way to Kemukta Nelm, which is this massive like cliff face that they have to scale to get to the flat top. I've kind of not spent a lot of time on the rock climbing bit. I'm still not sure if that's a good choice or not. Speaking about when to show and when to tell, sometimes you have to choose between what the key theme of a scene is versus showing enough of the journey. And I have two characters who are covering a large amount of geographic space in a short time frame board-wise. And so sometimes I have to choose which sections of that journey to actually show and which to sort of skid past. And so right now I haven't spent a lot of time on the rock climbing. I'm not entirely sure about that decision yet. I do feel like the theme of that particular scene is those two characters bonding with each other and having their relationship developed. And I'm not sure if spending more time on the rock climbing will be better for that, or if just showing specific little details about the climb is enough. So I might go back and revisit that and see if I need to throw in a couple of extra paragraphs. This is going to get another editing pass after it goes to my betas, so I'm not insanely worried about there being a couple more mistakes in it. But that is something that's sort of on my radar to be looked at. And speaking of bonding moments, today we're going to edit the scene where Elaith and Jaelin have their first sort of really strong bonding moment with each other. And I'm excited about this because when I wrote the scene, it sort of naturally gravitated towards that happening. So I don't have to write in a bonding moment. I just have to sort of enhance what's already there, which is nice. I don't have a ton of notes for this. Again, I just want to infuse some more context details in here. So this is the first time that we see mages like really charging sources. And I've been sprinkling little breadcrumbs about how the magic system works in this world throughout the initial edits. So I probably need to take some time here and explain how the charging of sources actually works. And I also just want to try and see if I can get a little bit more information about Jaelin's past expressed via words. We have sort of, through thought process, we have seen some of the information about how Elaith was brought up. But I feel like at this point in time, Elaith and Jaelin need to start getting to know each other better. And so it would be good for Jaelin to talk a little bit about the fact that he was kind of always, you know, the troublesome child because he was always getting into everything and his parents couldn't keep track of him. And as soon as they had an opportunity to pack him off to school, it's like, you're the school's problem now. So I want to try and get a little bit of that in there just because the relationship that's supposed to be developing between Elaith and Jaelin sort of needs to start having those catalyst conversations. These are not major edits. This is not a big, huge deal. The only note I have for the chapter 11 scene that we're going to be editing on stream today, hopefully, is that the elder needs a name. And I believe that Maskling has already given me the name that I want to use for this guy, because remember I was saying that I wanted a really pretentious name, and that there was a more pretentious guy that was coming up, so I think we're going to use Ignatius for this guy. Oh gosh, I missed a June joke. I'm unsure about rocks. If Jason Momoa is climbing that wall, there is a non-zero chance of orgasms. Yes, absolutely. I just assumed JMO was really enthusiastic. No, he is Duncan Idaho in the new series, and I really want the new series to get like into some of the other books so that we get more JMO. Minor spoiler, but there's more Duncan Idaho in that series than what you see in the first two movies. So he's also Duncan Idaho who will climb a mountain in God Emperor of Dune. Yes. Like free climb as well. Duncan Idaho is the name of Jason Momoa's character, the character that Jason Momoa plays in Dune. Yes, his real name is Duncan Idaho. And his companion spontaneously, yes, she does. Yeah. There's a lot of weird, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of weird sex stuff. And there's a lot of weird gender assumptions in Dune. If I have one complaint about the Dune series, aside from the fact that it was actually a train wreck in the way it was written, even though it's still really good, it's that there was a lot of weird gender and sex assumptions made by Frank Herbert about, like, how gender and sexuality and, like, the mental gymnastics of being a woman or being a man actually work. Which are quite dated. I mean, granted, you have to consider, like, I think he was writing these in the 70s and 80s, so take it with a grain of salt. But he had some really weird assumptions about, like, all women are nurturers and all men are barbarians, and yeah, for sure. And there is, in God Emperor of Dune, he basically creates this, like, weird sex ritual that the fish speakers all do with Leto when he's, like, turning into a worm, and it's really weird. He tries to go out of his way and say that it's not sexual, but it is. It is. So I really enjoyed the Dune series, but there's some weird stuff in there. Just heads up for anyone who's like, should I get into the Dune series? Yeah, but just be aware that there's some really weird stuff there. So yeah, we are gonna get started. You just said the sentence, some weird sex ritual, the fish speakers, not the fish people. They're not fish people. The fish speakers are priestesses. Because there's something in Dune called the sand trout, which are they're supposed to be like fish, and so they are called the fish speakers. They're not fish people. I can see where you would make that mistake. They are just priests, but the guy is turning into a worm. He's turning into a giant sandworm. That part is real, so it is still a very bizarre sentence, just so you know. It's a bizarre sentence. It is something that just came out of my mouth because I've read Dune. I can't deny that it's weird. All right, let's get some semblance of organization into my tabs open here because that's going to make my life a lot easier. And we are going to write down how many words are in this scene. It's a shorty. It is 1,793. And while I'm at it, just because it's easier, I am going to... So this is not going to stay chapter 11, then chapter 12 is actually going to be... Switch some things around. So that is going to be a longer one, 2,220. I did a lot of shuffling of scenes around here. Now, I've heard pounded in the butt with my own butt, and somehow that fish speaker sentence was weirder. I mean, that's an accurate description of Dune, I think. Very, very accurate. Okay, and actually, while I'm doing some mechanical stuff here, I believe I swapped so many things around. Let's pull this out, because that's going to become chapter 11. And we will... grab this. Excellente. You have pleased the mug police today. It is, morning is for Ursula, as you know. I appreciate that you like the Ursula mug so much, Peter. It does make me happy. I am probably going to pop AFK. I might not go into BRB mode. I'm probably going to pop AFK just real quick to refresh my coffee because I spent so much time talking. But it was all writing chat, so I feel like it was relevant at least. I just love that I talked about Dune and someone was like, those words just came out of your mouth. Because it's like, yeah, that's the experience of Dune. You kind of, it's like, Exiled Fae can confirm this because clearly they've read this book as well. You have to have read the book to really understand how bizarre it is. But the story is still good enough that even though you're reading it and you're like, what the fuck did I just read? You keep reading it because you're like bizarrely interested in WTF is gonna happen with these people. And that's just the experience of reading that series. And I just found out that there were 2 books written by Frank Herbert's son and someone else who are supposed to be like the finishing, like, because he died before he finished the series. It ends on a massive cliffhanger. So there are 2 books that are supposed to be like the final, like what he had written in his notes as the like last book, and I am trying to decide whether or not I want to read them. The world building is bonkers, but it's a fun ride. Exactly. You may not think it be like Dune, but it do. Dune be like Dune. Dune do be like that. So yeah, I've heard mixed reviews of the ones, that he didn't write. The ones that are supposed to be the sequel books, the like ending books. But I don't know, I'm morbidly curious. I might have to read it just to find out. But for now, I'm gonna pop AFK for just 1 minute here. I might actually pop up the BRB screen just for a second, and then we're gonna start getting into sprints. And we're gonna do the productivity part of the stream. So if anyone's getting in some last minute words here for the end of the year, pre-Christmas words, we'll be doing that. So I shall BRB. Senator, hello. Enjoy your lurk. I assume you're working. I hope you're having a good day. I am back. I'm just going to get settled back into my chair, and then we are going to do a sprint. We're going to be doing 30-minute sprints today. Trying to get into that deep focus. My blanket and my hand socks. If you guys are wondering why I'm so sniffly, it's because it has been snowing. There has been snow. Ghost Pepper was out this morning shoveling the walk. It's not my favorite part of winter, but it is as it is. It is what happens. All right. Get that editing timer going, and let's see how this shakes out. So we have as our first sentence, night fell like a shroud over the stillness of the wastes. Working on a little Children of Earth between doing work stuff. Nice. Nice, nice. Oh, Exiled Faye, how's Doggo doing? Is he doing a bit better? Kiki, hello! Editing right now as well. That's awesome. Glad to hear. I hope it's going well. I can instantly tell I need to do a little bit of reworking on this. What did I say? You can see my brain is with the wording today, which is gonna make this great. We're making moves. What moves are we making, AB Coffee? Twitch is twitching. Oh no! But I'm glad to hear. Doggo seems to be doing better. It sounds like he was in a pretty bad way before the vet visit. ECC Books is rating. Hello, hello. How are you? How's it going? What were you working on today? Secret project no one knows about except everyone here. I hope it's going well, AB Coffee. More books. Hello, Daz. How's it going? How are you, my friends? We just started our first big editing sprint. So if I'm a little quiet, I apologize, but welcome in. Vegan Atheist Coral, hello, hello. How's it going? Author Goddess, hello, hello. More words, more books, more feels. How do you work your editing sprints? Is it similar to writing ones? Pretty much. I just go quiet and look over what I've written and work on my edits. There's a bit less clicky-clackying because I'm not necessarily typing as consistently. For me, I'm basically reading over what I wrote in the first draft and fixing it up, looking at my sentence structure, my word choices. I'm one of those people who does all my edits at the same time, so I'm not necessarily going through just looking for one thing. I'm kind of looking a little bit for everything, but I have notes on what I want to keep track of. And I basically just do a slightly longer sprint because it takes me a little bit longer to get into that heavy focus for editing versus when I'm writing. I worry that my editing sprints are less exciting than my writing sprints because at least when I'm writing, there's clicky clacks all the time. But sometimes I do comment on what I'm doing, especially if I find something that I think will be particularly useful. Right now, I'm basically just seeding a little bit of extra breadcrumbs, information about how the magic system works in this series, because I actually went out of my way to make a different magic system than one that I've used before, and then I realized I didn't really explain how it works. And so we have mages that are charging their sources right now, and so I'm trying to explain a little bit more about how sources work. Hey, Cyberwolf, how's it going? think I'm ever gonna catch that pepper boy of a husband of yours. He's always streaming when I'm working. He will be streaming later today, Cyberwolf. I'm not sure what your work schedule is, but he's planning to stream in about 2 hours, if that is helpful. He hasn't been streaming a lot lately because he's been very busy with work himself, but he is going to be making the best use of Christmas vacation to get some streams in. Yeah, so you'll be able to catch him in a little bit. I think I actually hear him moving around in the kitchen, so I assume he is eating lunch. Goosey, GKG, or sorry, I said that all wrong, didn't I? I read it and then I said it wrong. Goose GJK, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in, Goosey. I think I've said your name wrong like 5 times already. I'm so sorry. Usually working 10 to 6 Eastern on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, Ghost has really only been streaming on Sundays lately because he's just been so busy with work. So hopefully in the new year he's going to be able to start getting that going. Also, Goosey, if you have a particular way you'd like me to say your name, let me know. I'm always saying I'm awful with names, but I do my best. Oh, when you can tell that you have your fingers on the wrong keys. Can depression affect your writing or drive to write? Absolutely. I had started rewriting my one story to a book and got the first chapter done and then lost interest in it. Absolutely. Your mood can 100% affect your writing and your drive, because especially editing or rewriting are very energy heavy and emotionally heavy tasks. I would say be kind to yourself if you're struggling with other things. If you're struggling to get in a headspace for writing, give yourself some space, give yourself some time. But at the end of the day, sometimes you do just have to muscle through a little bit. Sit down each day, give it a little bit of a try. If you really can't get it going, then like I said, give yourself the space, give yourself the time. But sometimes if you push just a little bit, you can get past that first hurdle and sort of break things free. All I can say is eventually it should go for you. Like, you should be able to break through whatever is causing that block. But 100%, if you're dealing with other things, especially emotional things, those can 100% have an effect on your ability to do this kind of work. And just don't be too hard on yourself, because that won't help. If you beat yourself up over it, you'll just feel worse, and that won't help you. Hey, Nickel Knot. You look so preoccupied. Yeah, working on edits today, I always look a little bit more engrossed because it takes a little bit more brain power. Neo, hello! My biggest problem is I'm too much of a perfectionist. I keep going back to fix things, change wording or punctuation. That's a very common problem with writers, Cyberwolf. All I can say is set yourself some parameters. I don't allow myself to edit on first drafts. If you're rewriting, it might be helpful to give yourself a rule like that. Save it for the editing pass. Make yourself a note. Come back to it later. Keep the speed and momentum going. And if you're doing an editing pass, you can always say, I'm going to go all the way through it once before I go back and look for some new things. Whatever ends up working for you. There's nothing wrong with leaving a few mistakes in there for later. Megan versus Screen. I know, I feel like that's the problem with my editing streams, is it basically does look like I'm just staring tunnel vision at whatever I'm doing. So what did I say were the type of sources that fire mages would use? Rocks, volcanic rocks. Ooh, jars of ash. Ooh, a jar of ash. I like that. About halfway through the scene, I think, on that first sprint. I always wait a couple weeks and go back to edit it. Same. I usually do my first draft and then set aside. I think I set this one aside for about 2 months before I looked at it again. Also, Nickelnot, Neo, how you doing? How's it going? What is up? Apologies for the sniffles. Probably gonna take a brief chatty break here and then go right into another sprint to try and get through this scene. Like I said, there's not a bunch of hefty edits going on here. I'm just sprinkling some breadcrumbs about how my magic system works in here, and I'm hoping I'm gonna have an opportunity to slip a few details about one of my main characters, Jalen, in here during this conversation. I did go out of my way during the planning process of this novel to establish that the magic system is different from the magic system that I typically use in my other books, so I just want to make sure that I am explaining to the reader how it goes. Honestly, Cyberwolf, if you want to type faster, just type every day. Just practice. I definitely did not start out typing this fast. Hotline, thank you for your lurk. Hopping from meeting to meeting, we'll check in if I have time. No worries. Good luck with your meetings. I hope we can be a nice chill background for you while you're getting stuff done. But yeah, if you want to type faster, just type a lot every day. Ways to type faster, if you're not doing it already, learn to touch type so that you do not have to look at the keyboard. The more you can just sort of automate that process of typing a word, the faster you'll be. So practice touch typing, get to a point where you can essentially be looking at the screen and not necessarily looking at your keyboard. Some people, if people want to type even faster than I do, some people will not hit the backspace key. If you want to type really fast, you go back and correct your errors after a stint of typing. I don't do that. I use the backspace key. That slows me down a little bit. You learn from SpongeBob typing. That's awesome. Yeah, totally. Like if there's like a typing battle game, I know there's several of those now. I learned to type from Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, which is probably dating myself a little bit. But that was how I learned to type. I took a class in high school, and you don't necessarily master it in like a month or two. It's a sort of a long-term thing. You get used to it in fits and spurts. And it can be very frustrating and slow at first, especially if you have like a method of typing that works for you and you're trying to change typing methods. I was talking about this a little bit on Flannel's stream the other night. Practice. It's all about practice. And you can go on, there are several like speed test places where you can actually just practice typing. Like it'll give you a little thing to type and you can just practice typing at speed. I remember a typing class with a paper over my hands. Yeah, we had little cardboard covers that our teacher would put over our keyboard so we couldn't look at them. My dog is very sick. Oh no, she's 14. She's deaf and almost blind. She's coughing and sneezing and fever. Oh no, Neo, I'm so sorry to hear that your dog is having a rough time. I'm happy that she has a human that is taking care of her during this time. I hope she feels better soon. I mean, they were literally just like pieces of a box that had been cut into like a little, it was basically like that. And they would just slide them over the keyboards so that you could put your fingers underneath but couldn't look down. I don't even think they were purchased. I think they were just cut from boxes. And they just had them in the computer lab, and our teacher would we would do Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, and our teacher would basically walk around and make sure we weren't cheating by looking under the cover. And that was basically how I learned to type. It's funny to me now looking back that it was basically a high school class, but the teacher didn't really do anything except set us up with Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing, and each day was a different lesson. And I actually missed the lesson on numbers. The day that we did numbers, I was sick that day. So it took me much longer to learn how to type the numbers at the top of the keyboard, and I'm still much slower with that than everything else. I remember peeking under the paper. Same. I actually for a long while had a keyboard that had no key labels on it. It was completely blank. If you really want to throw yourself into the fire and learn how to touch type, get yourself blank keyboard labels, because then you'll look down and there'll be nothing there. There were so many people who came over to our house to do like tech work, like, and then they would want to test if the internet was working, and first of all, they would just sit their asses down at my computer and touch it, and it's like, excuse me, that's my computer, get out. But they would look at my keyboard, and there would just be a moment of like, what the hell? And it's like, yeah, that's what you get for just sitting down at my computer without my permission. But yeah, anything that like prevents you from sort of looking. And some people might be like, does it really make that big of a difference if you are not looking at the keyboard? It's kind of how it comes down to brain processing power, right? If you're consciously thinking about where is a key and looking for that key on the keyboard, you're exerting more brain power to get to that. Whereas if you're just, when I am touch typing, I just think about a word and I don't even think about the individual letters. I just think about a word and I type that word. And so it's sort of, you're automating that part of the process. And just through habit and repetition, you have sort of put your brain into autopilot for that. And then that allows you to do it more quickly. I don't know all of the like bioengineering science behind that, but it's you're essentially taking that extra thought out of the process, and that allows it to happen quicker. So petty, I love it, right? One thing, and Ghost Pepper can tell you this, one thing I'm really picky about is like my computer workspace. I don't like people like touching or fiddling with, even to some extent, I don't like Ghost Pepper touching or fiddling with my computer, but I'm also like on the flip side of that, I don't like to touch other people's workspaces. So even if I go down to like help Ghost Pepper with something, I'll ask, can I take your mouse? Or can I type on your keyboard? Are you okay with me taking over control at this moment, or do you want me to guide you? Because for me, like, my workspace is very personal. I have things set up a particular way. I don't even like it. I have my notepad window size. This is gonna sound really crazy. I have my notepad window size set to a certain size, and I don't like it when people change it. Like, so there are little things that I'm really picky about. So by contrast, like if I go to hang out, if I go to touch somebody else's stuff, I'm like, hey, are you okay with me touching this? Are you okay with me doing this other thing? Because I might touch something that you wouldn't necessarily want me to touch. I can type without looking sometimes. Nice, Kiki. Yeah. It just takes practice. So anyone who's like, dang, you type so fast, can I ever type that fast? You can. Like, it just takes I've been writing full-time since 2014, and I've spent a large portion of my day typing. So just practice day by day and you'll get your speed up. The vet said she'll be fine, but dang, it's scary. I'm sorry to hear that it's scary, but I hope she is fine. I hope sooner rather than later. My workspace is in a bunker. No, I'm very picky about my workspace. You know, some people care about that stuff more than others, right? Some people don't necessarily care about their desk or who touches their desk, and that's fine. But I care. I have a Ducky One, which is, I think, not as well known of a brand. I was trying to talk about this the other night. I can't remember if I have the Cherry MX Blue or the Cherry MX Brown. I think I used to have the brown on my desk. I used to have a Das Keyboard Ultimate. Very, very much in love with. If you ever want a really ducky, so it is the type of my keyboard. There's even, I don't know if I can show it. Hang on. There's a little tiny duck on the... Please pardon how dirty my keyboard is right now. There's a little duck dude. I don't know if I can make it focus. But I used to have a Das Keyboard Ultimate. Really, really loved. If you're looking for a super high-end mechanical keyboard, Das Keyboard is really good, but it's very expensive. I think it's like $300 US for one of their lower-end products. I like a full-size keyboard. I like my number pad and stuff. So highly, highly recommend Das Keyboard if you can spring the money for it. But this was a nice alternative. It's on the plan to clean it over Christmas break, Neo. That is, it's a once-a-year thing. But yeah, I have a Ducky One. I believe it's the blue switches that I have now. One step down from what I had in my Das keyboard. I like this particularly because the key labels are on the sides of the keys, so they don't get worn down by the oils in my hands. The top of the keys are unlabeled, but they do have labels on them, unlike my previous keyboard. I really like the click of these. It's very visceral. And I type quite heavily, I think, so I get a nice loud click out of those sensations. Yeah, Das Keyboard. So I'll actually bring it up. Das Keyboard is, I believe it's a German company. They make really gorgeous keyboards. Absolutely just phenomenal. Whatever type of keyboard you're going for. Really, really clean, clear. This is the keyboard I used to have, the DAS Keyboard Ultimate with blank key labels. Very, very nice. They are expensive. So, and they also use the same type of switches that I have, the Cherry MX. If you're looking for the top of the line keyboard switches, you want to look for Cherry MX Brown or Cherry MX Blue, but any of the Cherry MX series are really good. Are really good switches. It's the switch that makes the click sound. So I can, having used them, I can highly recommend DAS Keyboard, but they are very expensive. Just be aware. They start at like this, the DAS Keyboard Mac Trigger starts at $219 and the DAS Keyboard 6 Professional starts at $200. And that's in US. So they are expensive, but highly worth it. I just did not have it in the budget when my DAS keyboard died. Keyboards do wear out eventually. So, you know, you have to be aware, even if you're paying a bunch of money for a keyboard. I think I got a good solid 6-7 years out of my DAS keyboard when I had it. Hey, Tempest, you're alive! How are you feeling today? Ghost Pepper hates the clicky clacks. He has nightmares about them, apparently. So yeah, those are the two types of mechanical keyboards that I've used. I really like the Ducky. I don't know that they're as popular. I don't know that you can find them as easily. But there's sort of a more budget alternative for a good solid like clicky clack that isn't gonna cost you $300 out of the gate. Mechanical keyboards are more expensive because you're paying for the manufacturing of those switches. To me, it's worth it. I need my clicky clack. I can't go back to a regular keyboard. Hey Squanch, I still use $20 silent keyboard. Yeah, and for some people that's fine. Once you clack, you can't go back. For me, I need my clicky clackies. Getting there, just ate an unreasonable amount of cheese. Nice. If you're feeling hungry again, that's usually a good sign. When you're sick and you're just like, all the food tastes the same, whatever. One of the first signs that you're actually starting to feel like yourself again is when you're like, I want this specific food. I want this specific taste. I'm gonna do another sprint as promised. So it might take me a little more time to respond in the chat. But yeah, we're going to, hopefully you'll get to hear a couple of the clicky clacks of my keyboard while I add some stuff into the scene. I'm always happy to talk mechanical keyboards, by the way, like, it's my jam. I got super nerdy on Flannel's channel the other night. Hey, if the bog standard Apple keyboard works for you, that's cool. I'd highly recommend mechanical keyboards if you type a lot, because that visceral sensation of feedback is really helpful to me. I know less about Macs, but I did notice that they had a Mac keyboard on the DAS keyboard site, so I'm sure they're out there. We had a cranberry goat cheese log in the fridge, and last night I was like, I want this, and this morning I ate about half of it. Oh, but cranberry goat cheese is so good, though. Can I just say, Ghost Pepper also hates goat cheese, but I love goat cheese. And it's easier for me to eat as someone who's lactose intolerant because there's a lower level of lactose in it. That moment when you first start to feel hungry again, though, and you just want to eat everything. That's always my thing, is like all of a sudden I'm like, I want food. And it's hard not to eat the whole fridge. Ghost Pepper is, you know, Ghost Pepper is Ghost Pepper. What else can I say? He's listening right now, so. Ghost Pepper is lovely. So what you're saying is Ghost Pepper's weird. I actually feel like I'm the weird one. I feel like I'm weirder than Ghost Pepper, but Ghost Pepper does certainly have his quirks. I do seriously want to eat the entire fridge. I mean, on the plus side, it's a good sign that you're feeling better, right? But it is hard to avoid eating the entire fridge. Mick Trigger, it's Christmas, right? Indeed, it is Christmas, though. For seriously, controversial take, I think low profile keyboard is actually better for gaming. I mean, my primary use of my keyboard is writing and not gaming, so I cannot refute that. I watched a lot of streams before following someone. Ghost Pepper was one of the few I said, oh yes, I like this guy. Oh, he'll appreciate hearing that, Neo. Yes, I assume because it's called Mac. I assume because it has Mac in the name that it's an Apple keyboard. That would be my assumption. All the gaming keyboards are mechanical keyboards. It's unusual to find not mechanical low-profile silent keyboard for gaming, but it feels better to game with and type for. I mean, again, can't stress enough. If it works for you, that's the most important thing. I like mechanical keyboards. Ghost Pepper does not use a mechanical keyboard. He uses a regular keyboard. And his keyboard is actually quite old as well. He bought it while we still lived in Quebec, so it has a completely different layout, which trips me up every time. But yeah, if mechanical works for you, go for it. And if you don't like it, I mean, Ghost Pepper doesn't like mechanical keyboards. He would never want that click when he types. My body is starting to throw a fit about the lack of coffee in my life since I got sick. I guess I should make some. Another thing I understand all too well. I hope you're not having a massive headache, because that's always what I get. And I hope you're able to get some coffee pretty easily, Tempest. Controversial because it's not the marketing norm. I mean, my thing is always whatever works best for you. I don't care what the marketing world says. I care what's good for you. If you don't like mechanical keyboards, then no quality of mechanical keyboard is going to change that. Jay, hello. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. How is it going? What were you working on today? Hello from Texas. I hope Texas is far warmer than here in British Columbia, where it is snowing. It's been snowing on and off for the last 2 days. Not thrilled. So I hope you've got some warmer weather down there. How's it going? What were you up to? Might have had a worse headache, but might not have noticed while I was super sick. That does make sense. Your body can only process so many sensations at one time. Writing a tabletop RPG zine today. Nice. Glad to hear it went well. Definitely not snowing here. Glad to hear. Getting some rain. I actually prefer rain myself. It'll be far below freezing Friday morning. Well, I hope it does not rain on Friday morning then, because freezing rain is no fun. But I hope the weather stays mild. We actually have some of the mildest winters in Canada, so I shouldn't complain, but our area does not handle snow as well as the rest of Canada as a result. So snow is just a massive pain in the ass here. Not snowing here, but it's like 12 degrees and there's still snow on the ground. I feel you, vegan atheist coral, I feel you. I don't mind cold because it's, you know, hoodie and blanket weather and hand sock weather. But I don't really like the snow. It's just such a pain, and it makes everyone lose their minds. So any fresh coating of snow, it's like, here we go again. No one's gonna be able to drive today. No one's gonna be able to figure it out. My toes are always cold. I feel you. I actually have, I have some unicorn slippers for my toesies. My fingers, my hands and my feet always get super cold. In fact, if I go down and like hold hands with Ghost Pepper, he's always like, your hands are so cold. And I'm like, I know. Especially if I've just eaten. For some reason, when I eat, I get like super cold. Even in the summer. Right now I'm wearing unicorn puffy socks. That's awesome! Unicorns unites. Yeah, I was having some foot problems in the summer, so I bought myself some fuzzy unicorn slippers, and no regrets. They're super cute and super comfy. like how that chapter ends. Heck yeah. Alright, so I did start chapter 11 here just a little bit since I had a few extra minutes in that sprint. Bit of a longer scene, this one. For the end of chapter 10 here, I basically just sprinkled in little bits and details about how source charging works and about why it is done. And I added a couple sentences of description about Jaelin's childhood, because this is really the first time that Alethea and Jaelin are sort of bonding as people and not just as traveling companions who are kind of, you know, using convenience of circumstance to get along. So they kind of have their first almost friendship-related moment here. So we get a little bit of information about Alea's past. We get a little bit of information about Jaelin's past. So nothing too major here, just a couple hundred words sprinkled throughout that scene to really give context to some of what's happening. And now we've moved on to, we are actually starting in the middle of an incident here. The last time we saw Ciri, she was caught doing something she wasn't supposed to do. And we are now picking up from that and just running with it. I have to decide, I have to name this elder. I think we're going to go with Ignatius, which was suggested by Maskling last week for a douchey character in the story, and this guy is the douchiest of characters. So I pretty much just need to make sure that I get his name and a full description of him in here somewhere. But this scene I remember being pretty solid, so I don't think I have to add too much. I have acquired coffee. Nice! Not my favorite, but I'll take it. I mean, hey, coffee is coffee, and any coffee is better than no coffee, in my opinion. But I feel you. I don't usually drink my coffee black either. I usually put a little bit of sugar, a little bit of milk. So yeah, I feel like this is going really well. I'm gonna take just a quick 2-minute break here to pop AFK and use the restroom. And then we will get back to it. Hopefully I'll be able to finish up this scene as well, because like I said, I don't think it has too much that really needs attention. I'm horrible at naming things, so the biggest part of editing this scene is going to be taking all the parts where it just says the elder and adding a name in so that it's not just using a description. Is there a link to your playlist? My playlist that I'm using is on Spotify. I can show you guys here because I don't think there's anything account related going on. It is owned music. That is, I think it'll keep playing if I hit the back button. Owned music with a 3 for the E. Their music is 100% streamable without having any kind of copyright strike. They specifically maintain it for that purpose. And we are currently, I always start with the Cyberpunk stream because I really like the beats. And currently it is playing, it has worked through Cyberpunk and 80s, and it is onto Night Drive stream. All the music on here is super chill, super good. Have to get to work on my back room trying to get ready for my mother to move in. Good luck, Jay. Thanks again so much for the raid and for stopping by. Good luck on working on that back room. So yeah, I used to use Pretzel. I switched to using this, and I like it because I have not had a single muting on my VOD since then. And they got nice chill vibes for a bunch of different atmospheres. So, and if you are already subscribed to Spotify, you can listen to that ad-free. And no problem, always happy to share. I put a lot of maple syrup and cream. Yeah, my husband either does maple syrup or brown sugar sometimes in his coffee, and he really likes that too. He does drink black coffee these days, but when he wants a treat, he'll either put maple syrup or brown sugar in. So yeah, I'm gonna pop AFK for 2 minutes. I will be back, and we will keep going. I'm back. Oh my goodness. Got not like new coffee, but I heated up my coffee so it is freshly hot again. And I'm just getting settled back into all my comfies here. Thanks, Tempest. I'm glad that you're feeling better today. I know that it's been a rough ride for you. I am 100% worried because we are flying on Thursday and we are planning to wear masks, but I know that they have lifted many of the mask restrictions in our area for flying, so I'm a bit nervous. I don't want to get to the other side and get sick and give the sickness to family, so I'm a little bit nervous, but fingers and toes crossed that if we take our masks with us, we'll do okay. I hate airports and I hate flying at the best of times, and it is not the best of times for it, so. But I am looking forward to seeing family, so, and having a nice chill Christmas and being away from my computer and my work for a while, so we'll see. We shall see. So the main thing that I'm thinking here looking at this scene is I need to put this guy's name in here because I obviously didn't name him on the first pass. But one of the things that I always struggle with is when to introduce a character's name. So Siri, our main character that we're narrating from here, has only a passing knowledge of this person, and she's panicking at the beginning of the scene. So I might not have her identify him by name right away. I might wait until she manages to have sort of a moment of clarity and then can think of his name. I might change my mind on a later pass and put it in sooner. Sometimes it's better to name a character right away and start having someone associate character and name. But in this case, I think it makes a little bit of sense for her to be not necessarily putting details together. So we'll see. Sometimes I make a decision and then I instantly question that decision. Which is what beta readers are for. Like, to tell you, hey, this needs more attention, or hey, this is great. Hot coffee. Life's little pleasures. Let's do 30 more minutes. I hit the wrong button. That is only 20 minutes. That would have been me being like, where did that half an hour go? My tea is too hot. Oh no! See, I like my hot liquid to be like burning my tongue. Oh no. Hot liquid and being sleepy though is sometimes not the best combo because it leads to inadvertent tongue burning. I also need to add a physical description of this guy. By tea, I meant coffee. I kind of figured that you probably meant. Although I actually have a tea that is called coffee. It is a coffee flavored tea, so you never know. Hot liquid, you know? It's interspersible. Interspersible? Interchangeable? Clearly my brain is firing on all cylinders too. Heck yeah. Well, I wrote that whole sentence out of order. Gonna go nap. Enjoy your nap, Tempest. I hope you feel even better when you wake up, and I hope that the coffee is perfect. Naps are the best. I always wish I had more time for naps. Doggo is crying, but I think it's boredom. Oh no. Poor doggo. Only 20 minutes left on the clock, though. That's good news. Supernatural. Hey, hey, how's it going? Are you rating today Supernatural? And we got a stretch from Exiled Fae. The name of the playlist. So the person who runs it is Owned Music. So Owned with a 3. Oh, it's back here actually. Owned Music. And then this specific playlist that we are in at the moment is Night Drive. No worries. They're also on Tidal if you use it instead of Spotify. I'm not familiar with Tidal, but I appreciate that, Exiled Fae. Found them on YouTube Music also. Yeah, Owned does a lot of resources for streamers. Also, where did that half an hour go? Holy man. Owned does a lot of resources for streamers, so they're in a lot of accessible and easy to find places. Which I appreciate. I got a bit further than I thought that I did. That sprint seemed to go by so quickly. My goodness. I remember being pretty happy with this scene, and now that I've gotten some details about the Elder, the new introductory character here, Ignatius, pretty happy with how that's going. So I definitely don't think we need another full sprint to get through this, because we've only got about this much left to go. I might actually try the 10-minute, what was originally my break timer, but the 10-minute sprint timer, and see if I can just polish this off, because then it shall be lunchtime. Title is closest, is the closest Spotify rival. From what I read, they pay artists better. Interesting. What is their, I guess I would have to look into their, like, subscription model, because Spotify is one of the few things we do pay for. Haven't completely switched, still doing the free trial. Interesting. Massive into lo-fi girl, hence the YouTube side of things. Makes sense. Lo-fi is something that I've only really just sort of been introduced to in the past year or so. So I definitely need to explore more specific artists and like get into more of the genre, because it wasn't something that was, I listened to a lot of heavy metal off stream, so that tends to be my go-to, but I am huge into any kind of music, really. Anything that gets the muse going. And lo-fi definitely has, I want to say almost a hypnotic, like it's very calming and very soothing. And it definitely is conducive for like the kind of heavy focus that I do a lot of the day. So I'm definitely open to more of it for sure. Okay. I also know that Ghost Pepper is about to start his stream, so I need to wrap this up. Not like ultra quickly, but quickly enough that we are not stealing internets from each other too much. So let's put 10 minutes on the clock and see how far that gets, because I really only have a page left to do, and theoretically I should be able to edit this page in 10 minutes. And then I will put it to you guys. Ghost Pepper hasn't been streaming a lot lately, and we almost never stream at the same time, so if you guys want to pop over to the Ghost Pepper stream, we can do that. Heads up, he will not be doing D&D stuff today. I believe he is just going to be playing a game with our good friend Flannel, Flannelsaurus, so it would not be a writing stream. We would be totally jumping track there, but if you guys want to hang out with Ghost Pepper, we can 100% do that. Or we can find someone who is writing. I'm betting that Supernatural is probably around. And I follow a large number of writers, so we can hop into another writing stream. I'll leave that up to you guys. Please let me know over the next 10 minutes what you guys would like to do, so that we can decide. And I'm just going to put a timer on here. It's going to say time for words at the end. Just ignore that. Because this was originally my break timer, but I think I just need that extra 10 minutes to get through this. Merlin knows it's quitting time. Gonna pay attention to him, and no worries. Thanks for hanging out, Exiled Fae. Appreciate. Have some good fun time with Merlin. Alright. That is that. Very quick and simple edit. Perfect timing. I am pretty happy with that there. Not much in the way of change to that second scene. Just a quick spit polish. Always happy to have scenes like that. Especially when you start to get into the heavy moving things around. Like I have a scene this afternoon that I basically have to rewrite because it's just not doing anything for the plot. The character is just sort of meandering. I need to put some tension in there. I need to put some purpose in there. So there's going to be a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of adding and subtracting. It's going to be one of those where by the time I've removed and re-added words, it's going to be the same length of scene. So there's going to be almost no word count to it in terms of what, you know, numbers wise. But almost every word in the scene will probably change. Also, Daz, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for hanging out. So yeah, it's nice to have these quick, easy to edit scenes to remind me that, hey, I actually do know how to write a scene that has a lot of tension and a lot of excitement in it and doesn't really need much after the fact. Since I'm gonna be doing a lot of silent screaming this afternoon. So this is probably the last time that I'm actually going to be editing Everyone's Child, or at least the first book of Everyone's Child, on stream, just because, one, the workload just ended up being so much more than I anticipated that I just don't think I can make a lot of streams of it work. And two, we are leaving on Thursday for a big trip to the East Coast to visit some family, so I'm only going to be around for the next 2 days. And tomorrow morning, we are going to do the final story in the 22 Stories of 2022 project. We are going to be doing a writing prompt tomorrow morning, same time, 10 a.m. PST. I'm looking forward to it. I'm still not entirely sure what I'm going to do for the story, but the prompt is going to be... Every god will fit in your purse if you try hard enough, which was provided for us by a member of the community, the lovely Bo the Distance. So I'm looking forward to doing that. That will be my last stream for the year, because I just won't be here again until January. I'm probably going to be taking most of 2 weeks off. And then we are actually flying back on the 1st of January. So once we get back, once I get settled back in, get everything cleaned up, I think, depending on where you are in the UK, I think I'm 8 hours behind you. So 6 o'clock sounds correct. Yeah. 6 p.m. And I will actually be doing some writing, so we'll be having more clicky-clacking than we had today. So yeah, that'll be it for me, unfortunately, for this year, but I've had an amazing time streaming this year, just getting to meet so many people and hanging out. I'm definitely looking forward to 2023, and to getting into the groove for that and getting back into writing. Ah, Bitzerk! We're about to wrap up as usual. How are you? How are you? How did it go? Bitzerk and I have a long-running tradition of rating each other as we are wrapping up stream. Were you working on a short today? Usually Bitzerk does short fiction on stream every day. You do. You have the best timing. No, I seriously appreciate it. I think we're just in that weird sync where we stream at about the same time and for about the same interval, and then whichever one of us ends up wrapping up first ends up streaming the other. Had to write with my cat in my arms half the time. Oh, is Kitty having a rough day, or just decided it's me time now? With cats, you never quite know for sure. At least I feel like cats are such that it could go either way. We were doing some editing today on this project that I actually wrote mostly on stream. I was hoping to edit it on stream too, but it just didn't quite work out because I am in that crazy pre-holiday everything needs to be done by Wednesday because I'm getting on an airplane Thursday mode. PP decided it was me time. Makes sense. That sounds about right. I know that when a cat decides something, the decision is final. Sits in front of my keyboard, so I hold her like a baby. Aw, that's so sweet, though, to have a little writing companion. Although I imagine it does make it probably makes typing challenging. Do you have the link of your short fiction for the day to share with us before we hit the raid wave? Did you guys want to? I will leave this up to the stream. Did you guys want to drop in on Ghost Pepper, who is not doing a writing stream? It would be a gaming stream. We could drop in on him though, or we can see who is writing. And hop over to a writing stream. I am totally up for either of those things. Ghost Pepper is playing Monster Hunter today, I believe, with our good friend Flannelsaurus. So slightly less chill than what we are up to at the moment, but there are also some lovely writers that we can drop in and hang out with. Ooh, am I not following the book editor? Makes typing very challenging, I would imagine. Have to archive it and post first? No worries. Supernatural is up. I also see Base Prefect is up. And, oh yeah, I have a new book out today for anyone who missed the beginning of stream. I should be better about mentioning this stuff. The second book in the Celestial Serenade collection is on Amazon. It is books 4, 5, and 6 previously published separately for the Celestial Serenade. These are my big coffee table books, so you can either grab the bundle for your Kindle, or if you want a giant coffee table book, it is available in paperback. Thank you! This went live today. It's my last book publication for the year, so check that out. That is my space opera. Let me see, am I following the book editor? Why do I not see that popping up? Editor. What? I'm not following. Well, let's fix that. Let's head over and share some love, and I can get following. I'm always happy to meet new people on Twitch. And thank you, Bitzer, for the... I also hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm ever not... I've said so many names wrong today. If I'm ever saying a name wrong, please correct me. Let's remember how the raid command functions, first of all, because apparently I don't. And there are some raid calls, but please feel free to use any emotes that make you happy or any raid call that makes you happy when we get over there to spread the love. As I said, I will be back. I know I'm wrapping up pretty rapidly here, but it's just because I gotta eat some lunch and give the bandwidth to my husband for streaming. I will be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. PST for the final writing prompt of the year, with Bitzer is fine, the K is separate. Thank you for letting me know. I will try to remember that, and I apologize if I forget a few times. I will be back tomorrow to write that writing prompt. Every god will fit in a purse if you try hard enough. And then I will be off until next year visiting family. So please take care of yourselves. Remember to eat, to hydrate, to stretch, walk around. If you need to take your medication, this is always my reminder that I have to check if I took mine. Please don't forget to take care of yourselves because you're all lovely and amazing. And I'm so glad that you all hung out with me today. I really, really appreciate it. I will see you all again soon. And if I don't see you until the new year, please have an amazing holiday season. And I'll catch you on the flip side in 2023.